Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's 11 o'clock a.m. in Cleveland, Ohio, and this is the third episode of the Way broadcast, and it is the first one for 2021. Now, we had a tumultuous 2020, and 21 came in with a bang. And we just want to make sure that we remain in prayer. We want to pray for our governmental leaders. We want to pray for our religious leaders. We want to pray for anyone who's being affected by COVID-19, as well as our frontline workers. In addition to that, we want to pray for those who have been affected by police brutality, and those who have been affected by any other forms of racism. But we know as Christians that God is in control, so we do not worry about these things. We don't fret, because ultimately God has a plan and He is aware of everything that we're going through, and we just want to keep trusting and believing in Him. Good morning. I am your host, the Reverend Dr. Lillian Robinson, and again, welcome to The Way. It is a subsidiary of a Work of a Heart Christian ministry. So if you're looking for us, look for a Work of Heart Christian Ministries, and you will come in contact with The Way and some of our prior videos as well. We try to bring relevant biblical training and dialogue to church leaders as well as lay persons. We are a registered nonprofit in the state of Ohio, and we possess a 501c3. Hopefully, at the end of this session, you will have time for questions. So again, welcome. Our guest today is the Reverend Dr. Crystal Walker, and she will be discussing the McCreary Center for African American Religious Studies. Crystal Walker is the president and the CEO of McCreary Center. In addition to that, she is the executive pastor at Mount Zion Baptist Church here in Cleveland, Ohio. So, Dr. Walker, we thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, and it's New Mount Zion Baptist Church.
Okay, the New Mount Zion Baptist Church here in Cleveland, Ohio. I stand corrected. Okay, so we're going to start with some questions about the McCreary Center. And if you would explain to us what the McCreary Center is and why it was created or established.
The McCreary Center is a theological institution that trains men and women who feel a calling on their life in the area of theological education as well as ministry. It was created by Dr. William H. Myers as a part of his doctoral work, actually, when he was a student at Ashland Theological Seminary. He saw that there were two areas of need in the Black church as it related to education and theological education specifically. One was there were pastors who were looking for theological education but did not qualify to go into a seminary because of their experience in education. So one of the things that he did was created the diploma program to give them theological education, as well as lay people that wanted more theological education and ministerial training. And so those were the two people in mind in terms of him creating this entire program.
Okay. That's excellent. So that those who are not maybe either interested or not able to attend a university school could get theological training at McCreary Center.
Correct.
Now it's called, it has the words African American. So what is the school's overall philosophy, and why did you make sure that that tagline was a part of your title there?
Well, when I became president and CEO, that was there, and I'm actually glad that it was. The McCreary Center for African American Religious Studies, our philosophy, we look to train all people in the gospel of Jesus Christ and to train them to deal with the social ills of the Black community specifically, and to really educate clergy on how to deal with all of the different social ills in the Black community specifically, also abroad. But, you know, we want to make sure that we are able to understand and to deal with these social ills and these different social justice issues of our own people. So that is our philosophy, and that is that tag on the end, African American Religious Studies, is something that we must be proud of. We need to be proud of.
Right.
It's to deal with all people, but more specifically our people, and to be able to understand our social ills.
That's a good explanation, because oftentimes I talk with people, and the question that typically comes up each time is, you know, well, why is it, you know, didn't God come save everyone, and why is it specifically focused on African American people? But again, I agree with you. I agree with the philosophy. African Americans are the people who are typically in the margins, and as Martin Luther King's, that movement showed us or demonstrated to us that when African Americans move ahead or some of those things are changed, it affects all people. It affects all humanity. It changes some minds, which is much needed and even still needed today. Okay.
Yes.
No, so I appreciate you, and I appreciate that philosophy.
Thank you.
So what types of classes specifically are offered at the McCreary Center?
Well, currently we offer 8 different courses, and you would receive 21 contact hours in each one of those courses, and we also offer 3 seminars. So we offer 4 courses in the classical disciplines, which is hermeneutics, Bible, theology, and church history. We offer 4 courses in Black church studies and 3 seminars. So some of those courses are tools for biblical research, theology for life, highlights of church history, the survey of the Bible. Some of our Black church studies courses are African American biblical interpretation, Black theology, history of the Black church, and the dynamics of the Black family and the Black church. Our seminars that we have is the Call to Ministry, and then we offer 2 other seminars that deal with writing for theological studies.
Okay, and the seminars are mandatory as well?
The seminars are mandatory if you are looking to go on to Ashland Theological Seminary, which is a seminary that we partner with currently. I encourage everyone to take the seminars, most especially the Call to Ministry. When people are coming into our school, I always encourage them to you know, if they're not going on to Ashland or looking to go on to another school, I still encourage them to take the call to ministry, because a lot of people are struggling with their call. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, we know God calls everybody. It's just a matter of what are you called to do.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, people looked at the only calling that you can have is a call to preach.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know that God calls people to prison ministry, God calls people to a seniors ministry, God calls people to youth ministry, God calls people to be pastors and different things like that. So the call to ministry seminar will be able to give people a grounding and a better understanding and a more thoughtful process um, for each person as to what really is my purpose in the church. What did
Mm-hmm.
God really call me to actually do? What are my gifts? What are my skills? What is that thing that is pushing me on my heart that, I have compassion for, that thing that God wants me to do? It helps to kind of sort all of that out, if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't had opportunity to do so.
Yes, yes. As one of my advisors told me, is you have to find your niche. That's
Right.
how he described it, and it sounds
Yes.
like that course helps you to think about that and determine exactly what your niche is in terms of your
Yes.
call, the church, and God, and how you can best participate in that.
Yes. Yes.
So, what type of people typically enroll at the McCreary Center?
Uh, African Americans typically enroll in our classes. Um, it's open to all people. We have had different people, different races to enroll, but typically African Americans, usually enroll those who are seeking more theological training, more ministerial training, and just that push to help them in ministry. A lot of people are looking to go on to other schools after ours, but people that want to enhance their skills and their gifts and their call are
Mhm.
those that typically come to our school.
Okay. And now you just stated that there's a lot of different um, areas of ministry that folks can participate in. Have you actually had any pastors to attend your school, complete the coursework, either before they became pastors or during their pastorate? Any
We have
pastors?
had a lot of
Okay.
pastors attend the McCreary Center. And again, keep in mind why the McCreary Center was one of the reasons why it was created
Hmm.
was for pastors who did not have that theological education. A lot of times, pastors have the ministerial training
Hmm.
because they're pastors. They've been pastors for a long time. But in terms of that theological education, they didn't have it. And so we have a lot of pastors who have come through the McCreary Center. We have myself, for one, uh, Pastor Vernon from the Word Church. He's gone through our entire program.
Okay.
Um, uh, there's a there's just a wide variety of
Mhm.
pastors who've gone through the Career Center. Our diploma program, currently we have our diploma program. When we hosted the diploma, the master's, and the doctoral program in Black Church Studies, there are uh, many pastors in Northeast Ohio who have
Mhm.
gone through the McCreary Center. And not only have they gone through the McCreary Center, they've completed their course study and then they would send their ministers.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Michelle Humphrey of
Yeah,
Amani Church. She's another pastor who's gone through, but there's a lot of pastors in Northeast Ohio who have come through and have just gleaned from this ministry, as well as sent their ministers through the McCreary Center. The McCreary Center has graduated over 300 people who have gone on to Ashland
that's
and
excellent.
also have gone on to other schools and received masters and received doctorates, received their masters of divinity. So we are a very sound and reputable school, and there's actually nothing like it in the country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is one of a kind, and I will share that I'm a product of the Black Church Studies program, and just recently received a Doctor of Ministry. Um,
Yes,
and it is an excellent program there as well. Came in contact with many reputable African American scholars, African American teachers such as Jeremiah Wright. I mean, people that you would never or probably not have the opportunity to meet otherwise. So I greatly value
that's
the
right.
education that I received participating in the Black Church Studies program through Ashland.
That's right. And I'm a product also of the McCreary Center. I went from the McCreary Center diploma program,
Hmm.
and I went on to Ashland's master's program. I received a MDiv equivalency and went on into the doctoral program myself and received my doctorate from Ashland Theological Seminary. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the first ones to go through the entire Black Church Studies program. And
Hmm.
so, I can vouch that the entire program is one of a kind. And those um, scholars that you read about, those African American scholars that you read about, are the
Yes,
ones, especially at the doctoral level, you are
yeah,
sitting at their feet. They
yes,
are your professors. And so
that's
we've had a lot of really great people come in and just expand our minds, expand our ministries. And, for a lot of people, these are life changing events
yes.
to not only their life, but their
Hmm.
ministry, just completely changes their ministry. And
Hmm.
so, I don't think anyone who has gone through McCreary Center did not benefit and does not speak of it very highly. So much so that uh, we don't market the way that we should,
Hmm.
but our students, once they come into the McCreary Center, we get so many people just by word of mouth
That's right.
from other people's experiences. They send them to the McCreary Center. It's almost like, come and see
Yeah,
this
that's
place.
right.
The saying is that it's the best kept secret in
Hmm.
Cleveland, Ohio, and it really
Yes,
it really is.
yes.
It
Let's
really
come
is.
taste and see that the Lord is good. Um,
Yes.
that that is so true. And I didn't attend McCreary Center, but I entered through Ashland at a
Yes.
different level. However, I would say that it is unparalleled. It is unique. We had students from all across the country, not just from
Yes.
Cleveland, Ohio, but from several states. And the knowledge gained, again, the broadening of your religious view, and just your overall education, especially
Yes.
when it comes to areas that affect the lives of African Americans, was
Yes.
so much was deepened.
Yes.
So yeah, so I do appreciate all of that, all of the work that you do.
Thank you.
Okay, so now what are the requirements for enrollment at the McCreary Center?
Well, Now, it depends. If you are looking to go on after the McCreary Center to more theological education, such as Ashland Theological Seminary, you do need a high school diploma or a GED.
Okay.
If you are not looking to go on, you can just apply, you know, and we take everybody, you know, because people are looking to be trained in theological education. We do look at the cream of the crop when it comes to sending people on after their studies. And so, you know, they will need a high school diploma or a GED.
Okay.
So that is one of the requirements. If you're looking to go on, if you're just looking for some theological education, ministerial training through McCreary Center only, you can come. Anyone can come.
Okay.
So it is just a matter of filling out that application.
All right. Okay, that's helpful to know. So anyone can receive additional education at McCreary Center without having to have a GED or high school diploma. And again,
Correct.
that is if you are not interested in going further in the coursework or attending a university. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now,
And
is
we've had
McCreary
many students who have we've had many students who have done just that. You know, because they do want to enhance their skills so they can further ministry at their churches.
Yes.
And they want that, you know, they want more than just Bible study. They want theological education. And so, you know, that is, you know, something that another reason why people come to our school is they want that, that extra, that more, so that they can rightly divide the word for themselves.
Okay.
Amen.
That's true. So, and that's my next question, because everyone watching may not necessarily understand what is meant by theological education. What is meant by theological education?
Well, you know, I will say this. When I first went to the McQuiry Center myself and found myself sitting in my first, it wasn't even my first class. Someone invited me to sit in a class to, you know, almost that come and see, wow, this is, you know, something that's great. You know, if you're looking for something more, you know, and so I sat in the class and I almost feel like I didn't belong. It seemed like initially it was hard to understand because it wasn't Bible study. And the longer that I sat there, my mind began to open more and more and more to where it wasn't Bible study, it was theological education, to where I can understand the Bible for myself. I was able to learn how to interpret the word for myself. It opened up so many different channels in my mind. One of the things that you asked me earlier is that tidbit on the end of the McCreary Center for African American Religious Studies. I was one of those people who said, I don't want to just go to African American Religious Studies place. I want to go to a place for all people.
Right.
And I can remember sitting in the classroom now. People are more informed now, but when I went, there were people informed, but a lot of us weren't informed. We remember those big fat Bibles that we used to sit on our cocktail table with a white Jesus. And I remember sitting in the class, African American Biblical Interpretation, and
Yes.
hearing about this Black Jesus. and I almost passed out. I remember reading, his hair was like wool, his feet was like bronze,
That's
but
right.
I didn't make the connection.
Yes.
You hear it,
Mm-hmm.
but you're being taught about a white Jesus. So you don't know that there's Black people in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
because all the time you've seen pictures of a white Jesus hanging in your house. You saw
Mm-hmm.
different symbols, crosses, and different things, but you never saw, well, I didn't growing up. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see symbols of Black people coming out of the Bible
Okay.
anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so um, this theological education it opens up your mind to being able to read the Bible differently,
Yes.
to minister to people differently,
Yes.
and to apply the word in a very different way. And
Yes.
you'll learn how to interpret the word for yourself without sitting up under somebody else's Bible study.
That's
You'll
true.
be able to do
And
the Bible
that's
study
very,
because
very,
you'll know how to understand and interpret that word for yourself. You'll understand the resources that you need in order to rightly divide the word.
yes.
Whereas, before, what do we do when we sit in Bible study? Even in Sunday school, you have a
Yeah.
book, you go through the book, you look up
Yes.
words and different things like that. But, we're not looking at concordances or other resources to enhance how we actually interpret those things for ourselves. So, um, the McCreary Center in Theological Education helps you to understand how to do those things.
Okay. Okay. And let me just interject here that for the Bible study for Work of Our Christian Ministries, we actually go through the Bible. We do not utilize a book. And that's what makes the Bible study unique. And the first class that participants take is how to study the Bible. And
Hmm.
so it's a little bit different. Those that log on and those who have joined the class, they say, well, it's different, And
Hmm.
I encourage the students to think. I put questions out there where they have to think for themselves because there's no book.
Yes.
There's no book other than the Bible. That's the
Hmm.
book. so so that's what makes the Bible study unique, and it challenges me as well. But
Yes.
yes, so that's how that functions. Okay, so now, other than pastoring, what are some of the other areas that your graduates work other than
Oh, our
once they complete?
graduates. Well, if you think about it like this, when people come in and they start discovering their areas of calling,
Mm-hmm.
then you realize that um, the call is not only broader than just preaching and pastoring, but that every call that God has on a person's life is very important to the
Mm-hmm.
kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have people that go into areas of prison ministry, they go into areas of counseling, they
Mm-hmm.
go into areas of youth ministry, they go into para ministries, they start ministries and create ministries.
Yeah.
Um, there are so many different directions that people have gone in and can go into. I mean, the list is really just unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever area that God calls you to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever area that God calls you to. And see, people look for all their life. What is my purpose? What should I be doing at this time? And different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to give you a perfect example. Um, uh, I was riding down the street um, during the last mortgage crash, housing market crash.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was like 8 years ago. And I parked on this one street in East Cleveland because the whole entire street was empty.
Mm-hmm.
There was nobody in the houses. And so I started praying for the people
Mm-hmm.
and, asking God what happened to these people
Mm-hmm.
and where are they going to go? These people are homeless now. And so I heard the Lord speak to me and say, you house them.
Mm-hmm.
You house those people. Had no
Mm-hmm.
idea how I was going to do that. And that was in 2010, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And um, out of that came a call on my life to help house homeless people.
Is that
And so, oh yeah, oh yeah.
right?
So I currently have a business that
Mm-hmm.
houses people who are less fortunate.
Yes.
It morphed into, so many other things. So I currently have 20 doors, is what I call them,
Mm-hmm.
that consist of single homes, apartment buildings, mobile homes, duplexes, doubles, condos, and
Mm-hmm.
I help house people.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
was out of a call that God placed on my life.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that helped me to understand that is going through the McCreary Center
Okay.
and understanding the call and purposes that God put on my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I mean, that people, some people end up creating ministries
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
out of coming out of the McCreary Center. And, I'm a living witness to that. And I
Yeah.
know of numerous others who have
Mm-hmm.
developed very large prison ministries and ministries to seniors,
Mm-hmm.
and different things like that. You wouldn't think that that's something big, but it's something that has to be addressed in the kingdom.
That's needed. That is correct. That is correct. And that's
You-
what Jesus calls us to do. And he was a revolutionary. He was a
Exactly.
revolutionary. God was a revolutionary when he called the people out of Egypt, the Israelites out of Egypt. Um, he totally ended slavery at that time.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so that again, theology helps you to think sort of outside the box, and doesn't keep
Yes,
you in a mold and say, yes, these are the things you can do and these are the things you cannot do. And
correct.
God has called us to go out into the world and train and teach disciples. That's
Right.
our job
That's right.
as Christian leaders or as Christians, period.
Hmm.
And if you follow your heart, God will lead you the rest of the way. Um, and so it does make you think differently to attend, I'm sure, McCreary Center, just as it made me think differently when I attended the Black Church Studies program. You see
Yes.
all that is needed. It is so much broadened, and you're doing the work that God has set out for you to do. That is truly meant for us to do. And the
Exactly.
fact that
If you think about it, we are the hands and the feet of Jesus,
that's right.
meeting the needs of the people.
That's right. So we have to listen and and it's funny
And
because
be obedient.
we just studied our lesson in Exodus, because when he anointed the priests, he anointed their ears and their hands and their feet. And that's what is
Yes,
used. And the ears are important because we have to listen to the needs of the people,
that's
and
right.
we have to listen to God's voice. And then, of course,
Hmm.
our hands and our feet are basically what we're using to do God's work, to go where he leads
Yes.
us, and to use our hands to do the work. So,
And knowing that God is going to provide whatever it is that we need to complete that work,
that's right.
especially when He sends us out there to do it.
That's right. That's right. All right. So amen. Amen. And my daughter is listening in. And thank you for that. Welcome, Larissa. I do see you there. Um, okay, now is McCreary Center accredited? And if it is, then what agency are you accredited with?
McQuiry Center works in partnership with Ashland Theological Seminary. So
Okay.
we ourselves are not accredited.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we hosted Ashland Theological Seminary's diploma program in previous years, and through different transitions that took place with Ashland, we now host our own program, but we are
Mm-hmm.
still in partnership with Ashland, thank God. And
Mm-hmm.
so our students are still able to go on to Ashland from McCreary Center with our
Okay.
certifying their coursework. And again, like I said, we look at the cream of the crop. A
Yeah.
lot of people, once they start Ashland, not Ashland, but once they start the McCreary Center,
Mm-hmm.
it is so enlightening. They want to go on. They want to continue on with their
Mm-hmm.
theological studies. And right now, we are working with other places to try to develop some other partnerships, not only
Mm-hmm.
with Ashland, but some other theological institutions, so
Mm-hmm.
that our students will have a variety of places and options that they would be able to choose from.
Okay. So if they choose to go on to Ashland, are any of the classes that they took transferable?
The classes that they take are not transferable, but
Okay.
what takes place is that they're able to go in as a bachelor exempt student. And
Mm-hmm.
so once you, this is the unique thing about our partnership with Ashland.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not have a earned bachelor's degree, you
Mm-hmm.
can still go directly into Ashland into their master's program
Okay.
coming out of the McCreary Center.
Okay. All
So
right.
there's not many schools that you're able to do that with,
I
but the partnership that we have with Ashland, you're able to do that.
All right, that's excellent, and that's a plus to be able to go
Yes,
directly into that master's program.
that's
Mm,
right. With just having a high school diploma or
yes.
GED,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
And
go through
completing
our
your
program,
coursework.
complete
Yes.
all of the coursework,
Mm-hmm.
do well, and we can recommend that student right into a master's program with Ashland Theological Seminary.
Well, that's excellent, and that is
Yes,
unique, and it's a
very
great
unique.
opportunity, a great opportunity. So
Yes,
I'm happy to be a part of getting that information out there. I'm happy to be a
yes.
part of that. Okay. All right.
You know, you asked me a question also about people, what do people do
Mm-hmm.
after the McCreary Center?
Yeah.
And I thought about it. Some of us become presidents and CEOs of theological institutions.
That's right.
That's right. Some
That's
of
right.
us become professors
That's right.
of other theological institutions.
Mm-hmm.
And so the possibilities are really unlimited. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on what it is that God is calling you to do.
That's
If
true.
God calls you to do something, God will surely open up those doors. We just have to make sure that we prepare ourselves in
That's right.
theological education so that the things that we need, McQuarrie Center is a door opener for a lot of people. There are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pastors who have gone from the McQuarrie Center on into a pastor's position. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, people want you to have theological education. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't want somebody working on your car and they're not a mechanic
that's
or
right.
haven't been to school or have no experience. You don't want a doctor working on your heart and he hasn't been
Yeah,
to school. And
That's
so
right.
schooling is very, very, very important. Education is very important. And so
That's
I'm saying anyone who is interested in
hmm
doing ministry should
hmm
apply to the McCreary Center and sit in on a class. As a matter of fact, if they'd like to sit in on a class, I'm willing, if they talk to me specifically, I am willing to allow them to sit in so
hmm
they can hear, they can come and see, just as I did.
hmm
See,
hmm
see how good God is. See what is out there. See what is being offered. I will
hmm
guarantee you, you will
hmm
want to go to school. You'll want to
That's
continue.
that's true.
You will want to
It touches
continue.
your heart deeply. It touches your
It
heart
does.
in a in a deeper way, and it makes you
Yes.
want to continue on, you know,
Yes.
and to
Yes.
learn more about God, and for the purpose of being able to teach others,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's what God tells us to do. Once you learn of me, go and tell others.
That's
God,
right.
I want to go with you. No, you don't. You can't
That's
follow
right.
me. Go and tell others. So,
Mhm.
um, and
And
that's
when we are dealing with the social ills of our people, we have to be prepared. We
hmm
cannot go in haphazard, not
that's true.
knowing the word, not understanding theological education, not having prepared ourselves. When
That's
we are dealing with God's people,
hmm
we have
hmm
to be very, very, very careful in
that's right.
preparing ourselves the proper way.
That's right, because God will hold us accountable. And
He surely will.
I learned I learned so much about, I'm more political now, and making sure that I'm aware of that. And of course, now during these times, we all are. But
Yes.
it helps you to take that extra step to contact folks and to get your views out there and have
Hmm.
them listened to. And I will say that I have been able to initiate some changes, um, that
Good.
because
Wonderful.
of the yes, because of the nature of them, I won't share them, but I know for
Hmm.
a fact in more than one instance I have affected change, through contacting the right people, in
Yes.
government, which I may not have been compelled to do otherwise. So I
Yes.
I am very, very, very proud of that, or grateful to be able to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me tell you something else about the McCreary Center. The McCreary Center affords people a lot of great friendships,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
great opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a number of ministries that have been expanded just because of the fellowship that you have with other people that are like minded,
Mm-hmm.
that are
Mm-hmm.
looking to grow in theological education, looking to grow in their ministries. I mean,
Yeah.
do you understand how many preaching opportunities that is
Yes.
offered to one another just because of that camaraderie that you built with one another?
Yes. Yes.
And, that camaraderie, it starts when you start with a group of people, everybody is going together and they're
Yes.
going all the way to the end. They encourage one another,
Mm-hmm.
they encourage one another in ministry. And
Yeah.
so it really just offers so many different opportunities,
Yes.
life-changing growth
Mm-hmm.
in your ministry.
That's true. And yeah, so that's a plus. A plus is the people that you meet, the ideas that you receive from your classmates who are not necessarily Clevelanders. And if they are Clevelanders, we each have our own story. We each grew
Yeah.
up under unique circumstances, so there's always something. Not only are you learning from your professors, but we're learning from one another.
Yes.
And so that's another positive aspect of attending McCreary Center. Uh, and, because then you go to so many other classes, I've attended other classes, I've attended Cleveland State University as well. And I'm in a class and I may be in a class with 3 Blacks and the rest of your class is white. But,
Yes.
And at McCreary Center, then you're in a classroom where maybe 90% of the folks are Black. And so you have
Yes.
more stories to hear, and you have more people with, as you said, like-minded people with whom which you can interact. So that's with whom you can interact. So that's a plus. That's a plus. You know, you can bounce ideas off one another, confide in one another, and share with one another. So yeah, so there's a lot to be said for attending McCreary Center, and you get that from other institutions as well, but you get it in a different way. It's a different way.
Yes.
Okay. So that is very, very unique, and I'm proud to have been a part of that process. Larice, you are on. Are there any questions that you have at this time? If you are listening. Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I want to say good morning to Reverend Dr. Lillian Robinson,
Good
lovingly
morning.
known as Mom.
Yes.
And also good morning to Dr. Walker. How you guys doing?
Good morning. Wonderful.
Fine.
Good. So I do have a question. Just looking at what's going on now with the pandemic. How is the McCreary Center dealing with the pandemic as far as taking classes? And going forward, what's to be expected as far as attending classes or doing something online. So how does that work?
We are currently, all of our classes currently due to the pandemic are online. So our classes are being done through Zoom. The students absolutely love it. I know that, you can sit in these Zoom meetings all day and they will tire you out.
Right.
These classes are so interesting. And the students, the professors are very mindful of, taking breaks and different things like that. But because of the quality, oh my goodness, of the material that's being taught, these students are extremely attentive. The professors actually love the interaction with the students, so one of the great things right now is you could just do it in the privacy of your own home. Take these classes through Zoom. So right now, until the pandemic gives and gets better, which we know that is coming. Normally we're in the classroom. We prefer people in the classroom, but of course, for the safety of our students and our professors, right now we're just doing Zoom classes, but they are still getting the same quality of information. So right now, that's how we are establishing our classes.
Okay. And then I do have two other questions. The first one being dealing with tuition. If you could elaborate on what it would cost, depending on if you're like considered full-time or part-time, and what's suggested for incoming students, and if you have some type of financial aid that's offered. So how does tuition work for the classes?
Our classes are currently $300 per course.
Okay.
We work with all of our students because the most important thing for us is to make sure they get in class and get the information. There are some people who are having financial difficulty where their churches have helped them, friends have helped them. We're looking into other resources also to try to help the students in terms of paying for, their coursework. But right now we do work out payment plans with anyone that needs it. Again, our biggest thing is to make sure if this is something that they want to do, we work out schedules that's comfortable for the student to make sure that they're able to go to school.
Okay. Yeah, that was leading to the second part of my question as far as the class load, what's suggested, being a working, typically for a working single mother. Do you suggest, you mentioned 8 classes. So is it set up where you do 4 and 4, or can you kind of take one at a time? What is suggested?
What I suggest is the way that we set up our classes are 2 classes per semester,
Okay.
which we've been doing this since we've existed, and it seems to work for people just to have those 2 classes every single semester. So our classes are offered on a Thursday evening and a Saturday morning. So you're doing 21 contact hours in each one of the classes. So it goes by pretty fast. But it seems to be just enough to make sure you get all of the information. Again, that is life changing, and that you're able to complete all of the coursework in a reasonable time frame. So to get through all of your the entire coursework, if you take 2 classes per semester, you can actually graduate in 2 years or less.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Those were very good questions that I'm sure would be helpful to anyone who decides to view this video at a later time. So I appreciate those, Larice. Again, our time is coming near an end. Dr. Walker, is there anything else you would like to share with us before we go?
Yes. We have a Facebook page, McQuiry Center Facebook page that people can go to if they're interested. They can message us. We are currently working on our website, so you'll be able to apply online. But in the meantime, you can call me if you're interested in attending classes, 216-905-0127, 216-905-0127. You can also call the McCreary Center, 216-431-1989, 216-431-1989, as well as email us at McQuaryCenter1@gmail.com. Again, the McQuiry Center, 1@gmail.com. If you're interested in coming to classes or interested in speaking with someone, or if you have any more questions.
All right. All right. So there you have it, everyone. You have the information to contact information for the McCreary Center. So there is no excuse if you would like to further your theological education, biblical education, and also your spiritual formation is also a part of that growth. You grow spiritually as well, which is a very, very important component, because the fact that you're learning more about God draws you closer to God and gives you a deeper understanding of what his plan is for you. So you're also improved spiritually as well. And that's probably one of the most important components of ongoing education. A Work of Heart Christian Ministries, we thank you for attending this broadcast, participating in this broadcast, Dr. Walker. The information that you brought, I'm sure, will be helpful to many, many folks that view this video. Again, if you want to see this video, it will be up on Facebook. It will be up on the YouTube page for A Work of Heart Christian Ministries. And I do hope that if you watch this video, that you will look at or tune into some of our future sessions. We are here every second Saturday at 11 a.m. Share the video with those that you think might be interested in it. And again, we are here to help you, to assist you in your Christian walk, whether you are a pastor or whether you are a lay person or whether you are a person that's not totally convicted. Hopefully this will help you to make up your mind. Again, if you are in need of prayer, if you have topics that you might want to hear discussed, or you can tune into our webpage, which is A Work of Heart Christian Ministries. There's a form for you to submit questions, and they are greatly appreciated, anticipated, and will be received well. So again, I thank you for looking at this video. Again, and if you want to learn more about God's plan for salvation, some information about that is on the web page as well. And again, you can contact me for further information. So, Larissa, I thank you for tuning in. Reverend Dr. Crystal Walker, it's always a pleasure to speak with you.
You as well.
And I wish the best for the future of your personal success and that of McCreary Center. So with that, if there's no other things that we have to say, if our hearts and minds are clear, we will be signing off. Any closing thoughts, Larissa or Dr. Walker?
I just appreciate the opportunity of listening in, and it was very informative. Thank you both for this session. Have a great week. God bless.
Okay, and just remember, Dr. Walker has signed off, but whether you turn or to the right or to the left, Isaiah 30:21, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way." Remember to walk in it. And we do appreciate your attendance. I'm sorry, Dr. Walker is still here. So we appreciate everyone's attendance. God bless you and keep you, and you have a blessed month. We are signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye.